Welcome to the Golf Fitness Bomb Squad podcast with Chris Finn, a production of P4S Golf. Welcome back to the Golf Fitness Bomb Squad. My name is Chris, and I am your host. Today's going to be a quick one, but I just wanted to kind of talk about an issue that obviously is very, very hot in the news, and LIV Golf, and particularly recently Jon Rahm announcing he's going over. Obviously, a lot of emotional response to that announcement, and just to LIV Golf in general. There's obviously a lot of allegiance to the PGA Tour and the history of the game, and obviously, I can see 100% both sides of of all these arguments and emotional responses. But I think what I wanted to share and hopefully give a little bit of a platform to is the impact that all of this has had on the developmental side of the game. So I think everybody, when we talk about growing the game, obviously, junior golf is talked about a lot, and more opportunities there. And there's obviously been talks about, a lot of people have talked about, Harold Varner and all the programs he does, $5 rounds of golf, right? And he's obviously used a lot of the LIV money that he's had for that. So like, there's that, that's talked about. There's, I think a lot of people, obviously the college game, that's obviously that, and the professional game are big focus of conversation. Talk about ball rollbacks, how far these people hit it, and how there's not enough courses allegedly that can handle the length that they can hit it, right? So there's a lot of focus on that early phase of junior golf, the next level of collegiate golf, and then obviously professional golf. I think, though, and when I say professional golf, there's a lot of focus on the PGA Tour and the LPGA Tour and LIV, obviously. What people don't discuss, and we'll talk in DP Tour as well, what people aren't talking about, which obviously just the nature of what I do when we do at P4S Golf, of we get those guys and girls out of college who are like, hey, I'm going to go try to play professionally. Now, unless you're getting sponsor exemptions or, for some reason you have a name that you get into, the bigger events, the life of a professional golfer sucks. Like, literally, there's zero guaranteed money, and you have to go play, basically all these little mini tours where literally you don't get your money back. You're dropping, $500 to $1,000 just to play the event, entry fee. You got to cover your travel. It is expensive, and you don't get your money back literally in most of these events unless you're like top 5 to 10, right? And in the women's game, it's even worse in terms of what the payouts are. So there's literally no developmental system for these guys and girls coming out of college. They go to these mini tours, these like super mini tours, right? Then they got to go to Q school, right? Which is another $6,000 plus. Like, if you go through all the things, all the different stages, for guys, you got pre-qual, then the multiple stages. For girls, you have the stages that you got to go through. And then if you get to the end of all of those stages, right? And again, you can only do that once a year. The Q school is only once a year. So you get out of college in May, like, you got to kind of figure something out until Q school. If you miss at Q school, good luck the rest of the year. Like, you got to redo the route again, right? It is a freaking grind. Okay. And again, zero guaranteed money, right? You got to pay your own way. A lot of these guys and girls, maybe they have parents who support them, or they have to go out and get some sponsors. But then you go to, let's say you get through, on the guy's side, you get to the Corn Ferry, or, basically we'll call it AAA, right? And at that level, the guys make decent money at that point. If you're a girl, you got to go to Symetra Tour. You don't make nothing on Symetra Tour. Literally nothing. It is living in poverty for a year. You have won the right to live in poverty for a year, unless you're the top 10. Like, and even then, it's not great. People, oh, look, they made $100,000, or I think maybe $50,000 gets you to the top 20, right? Well, yeah, but then you had at least that in expenses between travel, food, hotel, lodging, and obviously they try to do things where they have host housing and those sorts of things to keep costs down. But there is zero developmental elements in this game of golf. Like baseball, you got the minor league system. Basketball, you have obviously the developmental league now too. But literally, it's just, unless you can get a sponsor exemption, or you Monday Q in, there's literally no guaranteed money. I just thought look at all of the other sports out there, and some people may argue this is what makes golf great, but as a professional athlete and every other sport, you have a contract, right? And you have, guaranteed money to, to show up, perform, the venue and the tour, they make money off of you guys being there and playing. But if you don't finish a certain number, you don't make any money, right? So it's the only sport in that realm in the modern professional era that was doing that, and they were getting away with it, and it's great, right? I mean, as a business, you got all these quote unquote 1099s that you don't have to pay, and unless they win, and so you get half of them for free, basically free labor, if you think of it that way, right? But I think what LIV did, and I'm leaving my opinions out of, do I think LIV is destroying the game, or we're focusing strictly on what it's done to the developmental, the younger player. And what it has done is it has never been easier to make money as a professional golfer, right? In terms of, it's now there's minimums now where the PGA Tour now says, oh, we're going to pay you, I think it's $500,000, right? If you get your tour card, right? Where there's a minimum payout or guaranteed payout. The elevated purses have gone up, right? As a player, there has not been a better financially. There's never been a better time to be in the game of golf, and that is all because of what the having other competition, in the way of golf has brought. So, is it good, is it bad? I don't know. I'm not intelligent enough to speak on that. But what I can tell you from working with all of these mini tour players and from working with all these collegiate players and even lifetime tour players, the money's never been better. There's never ever been guaranteed money ever before. Now there is. And the opportunity for players to make a career out of it, if you want the sport to continue to grow and continue to get better and get better athletes, and you're already seeing better athletes, coming into the game, which is why you're seeing a lot of these distance increases, as well as the science behind how to increase distance and all that sort of stuff, both from an equipment, technologically, and then also, the physiological side of things. But I just wanted to bring that up and shine a light on this, because this is not talked about at all, is what good has this done for the players in terms of, the developmental side of things. Like, we literally have to have like charity programs for mini tour players because they don't have the money to pay for our services, to get physical therapy or to know what sort of workouts to be doing. And people, they have their college, but the college programs suck, guys, just to be clear with you. They all suck for the most part. I'm sure there's a couple out there that are good, but I have yet in a decade had a player that we worked with go to a Division I program. I'm not even going to talk about 2 or 3s, right? Go to Division I program, renowned, like top program, have won national championships. I've never had one of them go to one of those programs and come back even the same, never mind better. They always come back worse, slower. They come back hurt. Like they suck. So these golfers are not getting good education on the physical side of things in college. And then they're left to their own devices as a professional. And just because of the structure of the game, there's no support for them to improve their bodies. And that, to me, if we're going to grow the game, you want to grow the talent pool and and obviously that has continued to grow, but why don't we support it more, I guess, is my question. And when I look at LIV Golf entering the scene, offering guaranteed money, what that then reactively forced the PGA Tour to do, or not forced, but what they decided to do reactively, and then talking to all of the smaller, mini tour guys and the people who are at those not full status levels, their lives are better. They are flat out. They have some guarantees of money in their life. So whether it's better or worse for the game, I don't know. But what I do know is it has definitely positively impacted in a financial way a bit of the developmental side of the game that nobody sees. They don't televise it. It just kind of goes on in the background. And you don't realize it's been going on for 5 years until all of a sudden the person wins a Monday qualifier and then they perform well. And you're like, oh my gosh, who's this guy? They came out of nowhere. Overnight success. No, they've been living broke for the last 5 years and they just finally had a break. That's the truth of it. So I just thought it was an interesting point that I'm not hearing discussed at all, and wanted to make sure that we got it out there. Curious people's thoughts on it. So a little bit of a shift from the normal topic of conversation on the pod, but definitely one that we feel and we see. And I, as terms of the positivity, in terms of the physical side of golf, having players have more access to the science and the fitness to keep themselves healthy is only going to get us better players playing longer. And I think that's good for the game. So anyway, small little little opinion, little piece here, but hopefully you found it interesting, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.